It did not take long before it was concluded that there were and still are only two realities or tendencies in creation. We saw these two tendencies in full flow. The first one was brought about by the one who is called the beginning and the ending. This reality was all about producing essence, about sustenance, about loving, and about living. On the other hand, the second reality or tendency was reactive. It was and still all about challenging the Creator's glorious status quo. It was and still all about rebelling and turning back the hand of the clock. It was and still is all about defiance and mayhem. This second reality was brought about by the old serpent. Not surprisingly, the signature tune of the second tendency was and still is darkness. Just as the first reality is adorned with the sunny brightness of the Creator's light, the second is enveloped by and with the gloom and doom of the interrupter's darkness. Realistically, then, it will appear that the smartest thing for any earth dweller would be to continually live in the consciousness of these twin realities. At some point, the source of darkness found himself marooned on the planet with his brothers at arms. He had used darkness, which was and still his veritable blanket, to cordon off the earth. However, the owner, who was keen to continue his creation work, will not be stopped. He simply tore off the blanket with his word as he roared, "Let there be light," and there was light. The wonder of the whole thing was that when God spoke light into being, his intention was not yet to erase darkness. This was considering that darkness will still have its uses. However, it meant that until further notice, light and darkness will live side by side. This was after the Almighty made a neat and delicate separation between the two. You may recall that God actually used a combination of light and darkness to create time. The book of Genesis, chapter 1, verses 3, 4, and 5 state, "And God said, Let there be light. And there was light. And God saw the light, that it was good, and God divided the light from the darkness. And God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And the evening and the morning were the first day." It is really interesting to recall how God dealt with darkness for the very first time. As one would expect, the Almighty did not panic, and he did not argue with the cloak of doom. He simply spoke forth light, which broke through the doom. Darkness then had no option than to scamper for safety. This was how light established itself as an insoluble puzzle to darkness. Did you know that the darkness that invaded creation was so pervasive that nowhere was left out except the third heaven? It is because the third heaven is where the throne of God is. The truth is that the devil has no access to the third heaven. So it is logical that darkness cannot exist there. Wherever the old serpent has access to, darkness has the right to exist there. At least until God says enough. We have just seen the journey and the adventure of darkness from the time it showed up on earth. It continues its journey, and we intend to look at the further adventures of the cloak of doom. My friends, my listeners, my brothers, my sisters, we have thus come to the end of part 2. I implore you to be on the lookout for part 3. I pray that as you go along with us, God will continue to bless you and equip you for your earthly journey until you appear in His presence in glory. God bless you. Thank you so much. Please do not forget to like, to share, to comment, and to subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much, and I will see you in part 3.